Okay. Hey guys. So I think that I need to do a little bit of an introduction. This is going to be a video on YouTube, so not everybody I think who will watch knows me. My name is Karen and I live in Maryland. I am a first grade teacher and a mom, and I also sort of engage in the fiber arts. I knit, I crochet, I spin, and I just wanted to sort of share my craft and my ideas. This is almost like an online journal for me. It is January 1st. And one of my plans this year is to really be very intentional with my yarn purchasing and using my stash, because I have a lot of yarn and it's really beautiful, but I tend to be a person who is very impulsive. And so I'm sort of doing this as a way to keep me accountable for the year and to share my projects and to maybe sort of create a little bit of a yarny community for me. I have friends who sort of engage in fiber arts, and I just really love the podcast community. I really enjoy watching podcasts and engaging with makers. So this is sort of just a way for me to do that. I, as I said, I live in Maryland and I teach first grade. And so teaching these days is kind of stressful. So I use fiber arts as a way of relaxing, and it's very meditative for me. So I want to sort of catalog the things that I'm making and the yarn and fibers that I'm using, so that when I look back on this next year, I have a record of the things that I've worked on. Because what I find is that I am really a process knitter. And so once I have finished a project, I sort of forget about it. And I was thinking about what I have made this year. And other than socks, I can't really remember everything. And so I feel like this is going to be a way to help me remember. So welcome to my channel. I think I'm going to call it Natrinka, and that is from a nickname that my grandfather gave me, which was Karinka, because I was the oldest grandchild, and he and I shared a birthday. So, it's a special name for me. So, anyway, yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is sort of show some things that I'm working on, and then I don't know. I'm a teacher. It's Saturday. My break tomorrow is the last day of my break. I did not do much over this break. I went to a new yarn shop, which is in Frostburg, Maryland, called the Frostburg Fiber Depot. And the lady who owns it is super, super nice. And I got some really beautiful yarn from her family farm. And I'm not going to show it, but I will be making projects with it. And then when I make projects, I'll show it then. I did a whole lot of knitting. I went down and hung out with my kiddo who lives closer toward Baltimore for the day, and that was really fun. My other kiddo is in California visiting their person out there, and so we've been missing them a lot, I think. And then my husband and I have been wrangling cats and dogs all week. And yeah, it's kind of like we're being empty nesters right now. And it's cool and also sort of weird and a tiny bit lonely, which is, I don't know. I like my kids and I like hanging out with them. And so when they're not here, sometimes I miss them. So I will show you some of the things that I'm working on and maybe talk about some plans that I have. and then we'll see from there. So I did mention that I'm a spinner, and so this is some fiber that I've spun, and it's actually not fiber. It's called Big Freaking Yarn, and I bought it at my local yarn shop, which is called The Yarn Shop, and they have all of this stuff, and it's super, super thick. And I saw it and I'm like, this is like roving and it can be spun. So I am spinning it. I have the other bobbin on the wheel. It's like 8 ounces of fiber. So it's going to be 2 really nice size skeins of yarn. My spinning is probably, I don't know, probably between a light DK and a light worsted. That's my default yarn, and I don't know, I like it. I don't think about it. You know, it's just the way that I draft, and it's super comfy for me, and I really like it. But I bought this in this gray color, which I think is really pretty, but I also bought a bunch in a natural color, and I'm going to try and dye it and see if I can get dyed roving and, or I'm going to spin it and then dye it. I haven't totally decided yet, but it is wool and nylon, so it's sort of pretty flexible, which is kind of nice. And then the other thing I'm spinning, and I'll show you half of the braid first. This is from Laughing Cat Fibers, and we bought this at a show in Ohio around Mother's Day. It's a one-of-a-kind, and this is Jacob. Came with 4 ounces, and it starts out with this really pretty pink, and then it goes into this pinky greenish, which turns into a purpley greenish, and then it finishes out with this super really bright green. And I just split the braid in half, and then I'm spinning one half from pink to green, and then I'll spin the other half from green to pink and ply them together. And I am spinning this on my, hold on one second, and I'll show you, my electric eel, which is the Nano 1.1, I think. It's, here, I'll show you. It's super teeny tiny, and it really is teeny tiny. I do not use it to ply, but it is nice to sort of just set up and watch TV. I'm going to be going up to New York to see my mom in a couple of weeks, and I'll bring this with me because one of my intentions for this year is to try and spin an average of at least 15 minutes a day. We'll see if it works, but this is small enough that I can pop it in the car and bring it with me wherever I go. And it just plugs into the wall. And you can see I really filled that bobbin. So that's the spinning that I'm working on. I am working on like several projects, but I'm only going to show you one because I haven't been actively working on any of them. So I'll show you the one that I am actively working on. And these are this is yarn from Turtle Pearl Yarns, and it's called Rasta, and this is for my kiddo, my older kiddo who lives down near Baltimore. And this is just a Wendy Johnson socks from the toe up with a gusset. I started knitting socks, my first pair of socks and the second pair. I mean, I started knitting a long time ago, like maybe 10 or so years ago, and I knit a bunch of stuff and then I stopped. My kids were little, and maybe even longer than 10 years ago. maybe it was like 12 or 13. Anyway, my kids were little. I started going to grad school and I just didn't have time, and I didn't know anybody. There weren't podcasts or any of that kind of thing. So I just stopped. And then right before, so in 2019, a coworker of mine was having a baby and I decided to knit a blanket. And then the pandemic hit and I discovered podcasts, and The Grocery Girls was the first podcast I ever watched. And from there, everything went buck wild. Before I started watching podcasts, I did not realize that there was such a thing as indie dyed yarn. I have since learned quite a bit about that. And so, so over the past 2 years, my knitting has really taken off, and it's been really a comforting thing for me. But when I started knitting socks, they were top down. They were on double pointed needles with a heel flap and gusset and all that kind of stuff. And I don't hate that, but I super duper love toe up socks. And I am now a firm believer in magic loops. So these are knit on a 1.5 millimeter ChiaoGoo. I have no idea how long the cord is. I started these socks as a 2 at a time and quickly realized that I super do not enjoy that, so I don't think I'll do it again. But I'm sort of just knitting these until I'm probably going to get to about 5 inches, and I'm almost there. 5 inches on the leg, and then probably about 20 rows or so of 2x2. And then I found a cast off, a super stretchy cast off, but it sort of scallops the edges a little bit. So I'm going to try and see, if I can do one that's maybe slightly less scallopy. We'll see. So Turtle Pearl Yarns, Rasta colorway. Yeah, and so that's sort of what I'm very actively working on right now. I do have some other things that I've worked on. I made a hat for myself out of some hand spun from the Spotted Circus. It was a tweedy rainbow. It was really pretty. And I think that this year, with the possible exception of the New to You Mal, I am going to not participate in Cals and Mals. And the reason is because last year I participated in a knit along that was all year long, and it was a pair of socks every month. And it stressed me out because I felt obligated to do this thing and have it done. And it was not enjoyable. Even though I finished the socks every single month with at least 10 or 11 days to spare, I felt like, I don't know, I like an internal pressure to work on these things until they were finished in order to be done by a certain time. And I don't want to do that again. It wasn't fun toward the end. And this year I would like to try and spin 15 minutes every day, or an average of 15 minutes every day. And I would like to knit things that make me happy with yarn that makes me happy. And so with those things in mind, I have something I'm making for my mom. It's called the Habitation Shawl. And I made one, they had a knit along last April. I think it was in April. And I enjoyed the shawl. It was a nice shawl. It's humongous. And so I'm going to make one of those for my mom for a belated Christmas present. And I'm going to make a hat for my husband's stepdad for Christmas. He is going out. He and my oldest are going out to the other side of the country sometime in January. I don't remember the dates, but in order to go skiing and snowboarding out there. So we've got some presents to give, and I'm going to make this hat so they have something for my husband's stepdad. But I don't know. I want to knit the things that make me happy. I think that this year I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to feel obligated to do things. I just want to enjoy my craft, and my work is stressful. And so when I leave my work, I don't want to feel stressed out about something that is enjoyable. And so that's it. That's my sort of thing. I am not going to allow knitting to be a stressful thing for me. And I did let it happen in 2021, and I'm not letting it happen in 2022. So my stash is slightly stressful because there's so much yarn, and I see it and I think about all of the things I could be making or should be making. And I think I am just going to work on projects that make me happy. And my end goal is to end up with less yarn this year than I started with. And I'm going to keep track of it sort of the way the Knit Girls do their stash down, which is by tracking meters. What else? What else do I want to say? Oh, so also buying yarn. I am a stress buyer, and as we all know, the last couple of years have been rather stressful. So I have a lot of yarn, and my press buy finger works faster than my brain sometimes. And so my goal this year is to be very intentional with purchasing. I said I wasn't going to buy any yarn. Fairly unrealistic, but I am really going to try. I have some gift cards to my local yarn shop that my darling little students got me, so I will be using those. And then there's the Maryland Sheep and Wool. So my goal is to buy as little yarn as I am capable of between now and Maryland Sheep and Wool. We'll see if it works. My children are betting against me, which I don't think is very nice, but probably financially sound. Anyway, if you are still here, thank you so much. We will see how this goes. If people watch, that'll be fun. If you don't, then that's okay too, because I will, as I said in the beginning, I am thinking of this as an online journal, as a way for me to sort of keep track of the things that I am making and the yarns that I am using. And I feel like thinking about things and looking at things that I make it's something that brings me joy. And I enjoy talking about knitting, and I enjoy talking about teaching, which I will also do. But like I said, I haven't seen children in over a week now. So we'll see. Monday should be an interesting day. COVID is kind of scary. I ordered myself some N95 masks, and I'm going to have to reevaluate how we do some things in our classroom. 6 and 7-year-olds, for the most part, do a very nice job of keeping their masks on, but sometimes it can be tricky. So, yeah, we're going to see how all that goes. But have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful new year. My goal is to do this every 2 weeks or so. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, have a great day, guys. And I will see you soon. Bye.